It's Monday, December 18th, 2023. It's 6:00 p.m. Regular meeting of the Windsor Heights City Council. Roll call.
Here. Joseph Jones. Here. Michael Libby. Lauren Campbell.
Here.
Teresa Harms.
Present.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Roll call.
Yes.
Joseph Jones.
Yes.
Michael Libby.
Yes.
Lauren Campbell.
Yes.
Teresa Harms.
Yes.
Public hearing. There is none. Public forum. This is the time set aside for comments from the public on topics of city business other than those listed on the agenda. No action may be taken. Please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and keep your comments to no more than 5 minutes. Any public forum?
Even better.
Consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Stephen Sherry.
Yes.
Joseph Jones.
Yes.
Michael Libby.
Yes.
Lauren Campbell.
Yes.
Teresa Harms.
Yes.
6A, consider third and final reading of the zoning code. AJ.
To make a long presentation on the zoning code updates. Just one update, there was noticed,
Podium here, up here to the podium, please.
it was noticed that we were missing the definition for personal services, in the updated code. So we're carrying that over into the new version. With that, there's no other comments, or changes.
Motion?
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Yes.
Joseph Jones.
Yes.
Michael Libby.
Yes.
Lauren Campbell.
Yes.
Teresa Harms.
Yes.
6B, third and final reading of the mobile food units ordinance.
Second.
AJ, anything new? Any comments?
No comments, no changes.
Any discussion on council? Hearing none, roll call.
Sherry.
Yes.
Joseph Jones.
Yes.
Michael Libby.
Yes.
Lauren Campbell.
Yes.
Teresa Harms.
Yes.
6C, consider resolution 2023-67 approving updated CEC guidelines.
Move to approve.
Second.
Nate?
Nate has a sharp shirt on.
Basically I just went through the previous version of the CEC guidelines and information, updated some wording, and then changed a few things so that they are factually correct, like the fire code rating of 218 rather than 200, things along those lines. The decision before you is whether to approve option A, which effectively eliminates the 1/3 and 2/3 space, or to go with option B, which retains the 1/3 and 2/3 space, but adds a single hour minimum. So it would be a 3-hour minimum to book the space rather than the current 2. If you have any questions or more things you want details on, let me know.
Yeah, did we look at and see how many times we've rented it? 2/3, 1/3?
Yes, I did.
Perfect.
So in the last 2 years, we had a combined total of about 178 rentals. 20% of the time exactly was a 1/3 space, 35 times, 2/3 also 35. Full space was rented 108 times at 60% of the time.
And why are you moving it up to 3 hours? Just curiosity.
For the cleaning fees, just because I know that is a big cost to us. And with the cleaning fees being 325 at a minimum of 3 hours, that would at least cover at a resident rate in the 1/3 space that would cover and then some that cleaning fee.
Now, have we looked, because I think that cleaning fee is ridiculously expensive. Have we looked at, I would much rather chop that in half, or, because I don't think we were paying that. That was not what I recall us paying when we put this all in with the credit card fees and everything. Like, that is an extraordinarily amount. It makes me want to go out and almost clean. for that amount of money.
Have we gone out to RFP for cleaning service for that in a while? We got a bid?
Not since I've been here.
No.
Didn't Travis, didn't Travis do this?
Travis
Travis.
would have been the one that handled it, but I am very vague on any details.
Because I know that we fired one group that we had in there because they weren't doing a good job. It wasn't effective. And so then we hired this group in who is doing, from my understanding, a good job. It's just an astronomical amount of money, in my opinion, to pay for cleaning when it's just a lot of
Yeah,
money.
Nate and I have talked a little bit about this a couple times, and Bullseye does a couple of things that are very helpful for us, which is very short-term notice. They will show up and clean, Saturday morning in preparation of a Saturday afternoon event. They do always show up in our experience, which is something that you cannot say for a lot of cleaning services out there. So not to say that we shouldn't go out to RFP and look for other options. But if we do that, I think it's very important that we make sure who we select is somebody that's going to do a quality job, because the last thing we want is send Parks Department over there on a Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon when a renter tells us that the space isn't clean. And there's a lot of cleaning services out there, in my experience, that don't do a great job or have problems showing up, or you don't really want to trust them with a key to the space as well. So just one thing to consider, that they are at least doing a good job for us, as you noted, and I don't think we've had any experiences with cleanliness really in the space. So.
And a very side note, after the events that we've had here previously at the community event center, are we looking at purchasing new tables? Because they're like duct taped, or they don't fit together well, or they shift. And if we're like,
You'll see a presentation from Public Works on that. Jason, you want to give a quick highlight, or?
Yeah, so those tables are obviously the original tables in the community center. So we've been outsourced and looked back in. Unfortunately, they do not make those in particular type tables, so we're gonna have to, we're either gonna have to buy half at one time, or we just buy the whole thing all in one shebang, because you probably don't want to have mismatched tables in the community center. We have got on Amazon and we have found some latches that will work, and they're about, for a 2-pack, it's almost $17-18. So you're looking roughly $500. I mean, which we can go over to the community center, we have to take off all the old ones, wood fill everything, put the new ones in, and then the latching.
So I think in the budget, you're going to see a budget for new latches, but you're also going to see a proposal to buy new tables. But we didn't want to build that into the budget because it is a pretty significant expense. You remember what they were? I want to say north of 2,000 per table.
Yeah. I'd say
For a table?
$2,500. Yeah.
I'm in the wrong.
And we'd
one.
like them to be on rollers.
In the table business.
table and business,
Table
or
and
table
cleaning.
and cleaning business, here we come. There you go.
So yeah, we'd like them to be on casters like these. So instead of dragging them on the
Mhm.
floor, you can roll them and then lock them into place. But we are a little worried about the storage, because these half moon ones that we have, I think, are very storage efficient. And the ones that they would make now would be a full circle that fold up in towards each other, but they still have twice as much legs basically that stick out. So there's a little bit for us more to do on research side of things, but we know they're an issue, and at worst case, we'll fix the latches so that you can get them together more easily, and they're not separating like they are today.
Yeah, because the tape, yeah, like Adam said, with the 72-inch table down there currently, and like he said, they don't fold like they do now. It's just all one table. They do make a 60-inch table that's flat down like these, but that takes away the 8 chairs around, so then you've got to have more tables, which then that cramps your things for the capacity.
So regarding the guidelines,
I have another question or edit request too. I know that we mentioned sound system, full sound system, and obviously the issues that we have with the sound system aside, do we need to spell out specifically what a full sound system is, or, sound system, 2 microphones, or I'm just thinking of somebody who's renting the event and they think full sound system is one thing and we're offering something else.
I can clarify that.
And then,
I would make sure that we had some flexibility though, in case something isn't working or, I mean, I definitely don't want it to be so concrete that it has to be
That is
exactly what's in
listed.
the policy.
Yep.
So,
Could include.
right.
and the Bluetooth is limited to city staff that have access to the closet, right?
Bluetooth, the way it's set up right now is they have to contact me prior to
Okay.
set it up for them. So
Gotcha.
they have to bring the device they want to use for Bluetooth to the center with me.
To pair.
I
Yeah,
open it and then pair it for them.
awesome.
That's time consuming.
Thank you for coordinating that.
It is, but it's better than just leaving it open so that
Yeah.
any Joe Schmo can have access to the Bluetooth.
Or change settings on all
Right.
of it and break it. Yeah.
Right. And I'm usually doing tours anyway, and I mention it when I'm doing the tour if they are wanting to get it set up then and there. If they happen to have their phone or whatever device with them, I offer to do it right there. So
Nice.
it's not as time consuming as it could be.
So as far as the options presented, I think are somewhat dependent on the assumption of the cleaning fee. Does council want to look more at the cleaning fee, or are you comfortable proceeding with either one of these options?
So I'm okay, I think we should keep the third and the 2/3. I think I mean, I've done both and it certainly gives us, sometimes you can get 2 groups in there. I know graduation, sometimes that's helpful to be able to do. So again, I've done a third or 2/3 or whatever. So I think keeping that option is good.
And sorry to interrupt you, because you looked at that too, how many overlaps there were.
We've had 1 overlapping rental in the last 2 years.
Oh,
total.
really?
Yep, just in 1 in 2022, none in 2023. To your point, in favor of the shifting to 3 hours, I think there were a total of 8 events in the last 2 years that were less than 3 hours, that were 2 or 2.5. So not a ton. Less than 5% of our total rentals are less than 3 hours.
I also see the third and the 2/3 as an affordability factor for some
I agree.
people, so that's what I like about that. I'm indifferent really about the 2 versus 3, because I think by the time you get in there and set up and all those things, you're minimum 2 hours already anyway. So to your point, it's probably a small number. However, I do think we need to figure out why would we be paying $325 for cleaning of the third side?
That's on my list to discuss with.
Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. You're paying the same that you would be paying for a whole cleaning. That doesn't wash with me.
Yep.
So I think we need some more answers on the cleaning fee side of this.
So direction tentatively is looking more at the keeping the 1 and 2/3 space and seeing if I can get them to come down in price for those in particular
Well-
and in general.
Well, I don't know if it's just them, right? I mean,
Right,
are we
looking around.
What's the going rate?
Are you wanting to look at other cleaning services or sticking with them, but asking them, I think that's a direction for staff to look at. That,
Yeah, I think, since they're reliable and they're doing a good job, if we can get them to what we think is a reasonable fee for a third cleaning space, then I guess I would encourage us to maybe continue on this trajectory, given we're not having issues. And I think if we make a switch, that could lead to us making several switches until we find somebody we're satisfied with again.
On the topic of the CEC, I know that we had talked pricing, I think, early last year. And looking at other communities that have similar structures, thinking like Urbandale and Giovanetti Shelter, which is similar size, the pricing per hour is different. Would it be okay would you be willing to do another comparison of what's competitive? I know for weddings I know obviously weddings and the all day Saturday price. I know that Rochelle did a deep dive comparing multiple venues, but I think just overall, maybe a good opportunity to revisit what those rates are.
We are very competitive from the research that I have done. I can put together something formal for you guys if you would like, formal report. But depending on the space that you're looking at, there are places wildly more expensive than we are and places wildly less expensive than we are. So I
Yeah.
do think we are very competitive for what we have and our size. And again, I'm more than happy to bring a report to council on that. So.
Would also like to know, I mean, I know that you talk about the numbers being higher, but those people also have the linens that are brought in. They have somebody there 24/7 at the service of, whoever, not like a phone call away. They have, so I know that on some of those that we researched, it was comparing apples to oranges.
Sure.
Because they may have cost, $4,500 to $5,000 over here. But they also had a bride suite. They had, all of this stuff that wasn't really taken into consideration when we don't even provide linens or tablecloths or, stuff like that. So I think that we have to kind of look at that just as we're trying to stay competitive and make sure that our community event center stays rented out.
I was gonna also add, maybe talking to like Urbandale, Johnston, Clive, whatever, wherever West Des Moines that have events, similar event space, or even the private ones, and just asking who is their cleaning service and what do they pay? So again, it might be helpful to kind of have an understanding of what the going rate is.
All that clear, AJ.
Yep.
Thank you, Nate.
Thanks, guys.
So there was a motion and a second, that be amended to a motion at table.
Please.
Who did the motion in the second?
Teresa, and I believe Joseph. Or
I think Michael.
Yes.
Yes, move or change it to table.
Roll call.
Susan Skiris,
Yes.
Joseph Jones.
Yes.
Michael Lee,
Yes.
Lauren Campbell.
Yes.
Teresa Hunt.
Yes.
6D, consider resolution 2023-64, approving updated fee schedule. So on that note, which I believe this fee schedule also has some numbers related to the CEC, is that right?
That's correct.
Knowing what you know now. So I believe
Number 10.
10
yes.
o'clock or 10 o'clock. Item 10 has some rates in it, and I think council is asking for more information about how that was arrived at. So is there a motion to table this item as well?
So moved.
Well, hold on. I'd be okay with talking about it without 10, so we don't have to talk about all of it again the next time.
Well, they can do a motion to table in a second, and then we can talk about that.
Perfect. Second.
Shoot.
No, I mean, I want to hear about all the other things.
Oh,
that are- 1 through 9 and 11, and we're not gonna talk about 10 because 10's not there, but we're already sitting here. So the current fee schedule is from 2022. There had been some conversation, I think, previously last year in updating it due to staff transitions. A new fee schedule wasn't adopted in 2023, though. And it's not an issue to delay adopting it again here. It just seemed clean to try to initiate this January 1st of 2024. So in researching these updated fees, we talked to Safe Building, Rick Gentry, our fire marshal, BMI, to kind of get their input. Several things have changed in the last 2 years as far as the contracting with BMI for planning services, as well as Safe Building for inspections. I don't recall the exact dates, but I think both of those changes occurred within the last 2 years. So there's different fee structures for the city in a lot of the activities in here. One of the conversations that happened last year was the discussion on the convenience fees and eliminating that throughout the fee schedule. So I've proposed adoption of that from what I understood that previous conversation being, I think Rochelle's online to answer any questions or any recollections from that conversation. There's a couple changes in here due to state rules not being able to charge fees for public records requests above the costs incurred. So we've lowered some of the black and white and color copies just to ensure that that's in line with our costs for producing those copies. Due to the recent ordinance change for panhandling, we removed the panhandling fee under the peddler, solicitor, and transient merchant fee. Safe Building charges us various fees for their inspections, but we do still have our firefighters doing the research as well as mailing out letters, and then City Hall taking collection of payments for rental inspections. So we are proposing a slight fee above what Safe Building charges the city for those rental inspections. We are anticipating to come in front of council sometime in 2024, an adjusted timeframe for doing those rental inspections at 12 and 18 months, I believe, for single family and 18 for apartments. We're fairly regular on those inspections compared to some of our peer communities. I think what I'd like to do is adjust that to probably more of a 2-year time frame, presuming the inspection comes back clean. So if you've got a landlord that you have the initial inspection on and there's not any significant issues, they would go to a 2-year inspection cycle. If you've got somebody that has an inspection and there's a second and then third inspection, we could keep the same cycle for those type of rental properties that you're seeing some challenges on. But that's also the recommendation from Safe Building. That's what they're seeing as a typical schedule across the metro. Ambulance fees, Jim's done some research and talked to Omni Building, our medical agent on there, and we've incorporated into our ambulance fees the common top 10 list of drugs that are distributed at the cost, I think, that we pay for those. Is that correct, Jim?
It's slightly above the cost.
Slightly above the cost.
Essentially what I did is I contacted Omni Building, and the rates that we're charging are based on Medicare. And those are one of the items that we can charge for. So basically they recommended charging the normal rate that they're seeing with Medicare. So I just matched what they recommended.
Subcontractor permits as part of Safe Building's work. Those are consolidated into 3 fee structures: electrical, plumbing, and mechanical. So you see that list dwindle significantly as far as the type of inspections. They charge us $75. Again, we've got some inquiries that City Hall staff does with, as well as collecting payments. So we've recommended fee there of $80 on those going forward. Just also a note for council, we did transition from the state doing our electrical inspections to Safe Building recently. It's just, I think it's easier, and the fee is approximately the same for folks that are doing that. They don't have to schedule an inspection with the state for the electrical side when they're often doing plumbing and other work. Instead, Safe Building can just come in and do all those inspections at once. Conditional use permit. I think there was quite a bit of conversation at the city council level on this one back in 2019. There's a lot of staff time that goes into a conditional use permit or a variance request, and then presenting that to the Board of Adjustments. I think this is one that you don't want to charge the full fee of cost because that would dissuade people from actually applying for a conditional use permit when you really do want them to go through that process. So it had been previously raised to 300. I do recommend raising it again to 400 just to try to cover a little bit more of those costs, but that's still a very subsidized fee. Zoning verification and compliance letters. We're proposing to raise that to the hourly rate we pay BMI for planning services. There's not a specific fee amount on this one just because the type of request is going to vary significantly on how much time goes into that. So it's better, in my opinion, to charge an hourly rate than a specific fee. Fence and pool permits, we get a fair number of these as well. They're currently, fence permit is $30, pool permit's $25. Safe Building is the one that actually goes out and does the inspections. Oftentimes they'll be out there a couple of times. So they noted that what they ultimately end up charging the city for the time into doing those permits is significantly higher than what we're charging. So suggested raising that to $100. Since they charge us an hourly rate at $75 per hour. That would just note that does put us a little bit higher than some of our metro peers on that one. We've talked about the community event center. And the last one I'd just highlight then is the ball field rental. Approximately a $5 fee change on that one across the board. We did shift that fee structure a little bit, so it made more sense that the longer you're renting that facility, you're not paying more on a per hourly basis than you would if you're 1 to 2 hours versus 2 to 3 hours. But those fees across the metro, depending on the city, very wildly. But ours is rented pretty frequently, I believe, by one individual that's out of city. But we don't think that this slight increase will substantially decrease our rentals. So did attach the 22 fee schedule for reference. There are other changes in here as well. Happy to answer any questions council might have about those.
I had a question about the ball field rental. I know that there's some teams that rent it to host their practice. Do we have any discount when they're renting it like every Wednesday night all summer long or anything? Are they paying $30 every single week?
There's just the residential rate and the non-residential rate.
These seem to make sense to me. Overall, I don't have any concerns with anything that is otherwise listed here.
Is the reason that we're so much higher on fence and pool permits because West Des Moines and Johnston have somebody that is in-house that does it instead of us outsourcing it to Safe Building? Is that, I'm not too sure with Des Moines, but.
Yeah, I mean, my experience is most cities will have their own inspector coming out and looking at that. Obviously a shorter drive time for them as opposed to Safe Building if they're coming out for a one-off fence permit, which given we do get a fair amount of those, but still it's only, less than 10 a year, I think. So they're coming out specifically for inspection on that. And it's really the time travel back and forth, I think, that's costing the city money on that. So.
Any other questions?
I do have, I guess I did have questions here. So if we go to page 53 on the paper, going to other permits listed under temporary use. And then we go to garden centers and large structures. So does this include, are we going to start, I know back years ago, we used to charge Hy-Vee, Walmart, other places when they put up their garden centers for their garden centers. And then I don't know when we stopped charging for it, but we stopped charging for it. Does this mean that we're bringing that back? And if so, have we informed like Walmart and Hy-Vee and the other place there by the Y?
I don't believe I adjusted the garden center one. So if we haven't been charging Hy-Vee for putting up a temporary garden center in the past, it's probably an oversight either on not updating our fee schedule or them not applying for permit.
Well, I know for a period of time, there was some I remember one of the last conversations we had at the dais on garden centers, but also temporary signs like the yard, the berm shave signs and stuff like that. It has been a point of consternation in the past, on whether or not they should have to, pay on their properties, to put those. So I just note that there's been vocal opposition to that in the past.
And I'll say the small area by the Y, like that fruit stand, she does do the temporary structure fee, like places there, that property owner, he does have those people come to City Hall and fill out those temporary structures. I think one of those.
The garden centers type thing. Also, we used to charge for pods too, that were like on Walmart for whatever pod structure they would have. We used to charge them a fee to have the pods there because I don't really know why, to be very honest. I couldn't give you the background to it. I just know that we used to charge, and that was something that was brought up to me here in the past few months by a former staff member asking, well, do we charge for that still? Because You know, we have a bunch of them at Walmart that are just kind of blocking, and I'm not trying to, you know, cut ties with people or make people upset. I'm just putting that out there that we used to charge for that, and I really don't know why we stopped charging or.
What would it be under?
Probably a temporary structure again.
Yeah. So do we know, do other cities charge for them?
For like a pop-up tent where you're selling fireworks or something like that, yeah,
Yeah.
typically there'd be a fire inspection as
Right.
part of that, and confirming that they're within the compliance of temporary signs and other signs that they'd have in there.
The firework companies, they, this past year is the first time I handle it, but they all came through and did the temporary structures on pods, and it's per pod.
Right, but
yeah,
I'm
they're-
talking to like Walmart.
Yeah, nothing,
Those
even
are
since
those are
I've been here
storage
last year, I've
containers,
never seen anything come through on those pods or garden centers.
Yeah. I guess I'm just
I
curious.
don't know
Are-
about the pods.
Can we find out and then we can have more
Research on
discussion? I think that's a fair question.
And
If
just
they're paying
on,
in other communities for it,
Yeah.
then if that's standard practice, then
Mhm.
Try to find out about garden centers.
I was gonna say, yeah, can we just find out about that since I noted?
Maybe that's why Hy-Vee is building permanent ones now, so they don't have to pay the $52.
keep them at Farron, it's fine.
Susan,
You
Susan,
could laugh.
did you have more? I had one. I didn't know if you were
Oh,
done.
no, go ahead.
I had a question about the fingerprinting per card. Are we doing fingerprinting again? Okay. For some reason, I thought the sign was still up that said it was suspended, so I didn't know if long-term, if we were. Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
People were just ignoring it even if they didn't.
I mean, if you walked all the way in.
Any other comments? All right. Got all that, AJ?
Plan to bring this back to you for reconsideration next council meeting.
All right, roll call on the motion to table.
Yes.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
6C, consider approval of 2024 city council goals and objectives. AJ, is there any further remarks you have or any discussion amongst council?
Really, just we tried to incorporate the comments the council had as to the actual statements themselves. We did a red line of that. Disagree or have any further edits, happy to make those changes.
Questions or discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Yes.
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 yes,
Yes.
6F, consider approval to purchase additional holiday lights.
All right, well, good evening, everybody.
Who are you?
I don't know who I am, some guy, just some random guy. Obviously, you know,
Jason, introduce yourself for the record, please,
for the record, Jason Roberts, Public Works Director, City of Windsor
in
Heights.
case anyone watches this.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So obviously, everybody knows recently this past year, we ordered new Christmas lights along University Avenue. And previously, we had all these old poles, so we only accounted for 24 lights. So that's what we ordered. We had budgeted $40,000. We only spent $12,958 of that, so we saved quite a bit of money. Well, after doing some research and talking with other people in the community, down along from 70th to 73rd, that was all Mid-American poles that used to be down through there. Well, now we have these light poles, and we've had a lot of compliments about how the corridor looks when you enter into the city. So I'm just asking if we could go ahead and purchase, I know we have 15 in here. AJ and I discussed about maybe ordering 17, which would put that at about $8,521. We're still getting a good discount because it's the end of the year. So they said if I order them tomorrow, I get this price for $85.21. So we'll have them for next year.
So will they go in this year, Jason, or will it not be till next year?
Yeah, it won't go until next year. Yeah. So that roughly will leave us left over with about $18,521 left that we can spend on whatever we want to put on university along like the flagpoles. I know Lauren has gotten some banners that she has put up that we've put up for you folks to look at. So, you know, there's options there, whatever we want to decide there, we can use the remaining money for that and other things along the corridor. We could even order you know, big new pots that we could set flowers up along university, you know, have somebody come in and we, you know, spruce them all up and looks nice. Another thing that we could do for like the 4th of July, Veterans Day, I know other cities have, and I spoke to Adam about it. You know, we could get a few of the residents here in town's pictures of the veterans and, you know, have their picture on there. So on 4th of July and Veterans Day, we take down the Windsor Heights banners and we put up the banners and pictures of the men that served or women in Windsor Heights and put them up on the corridor, which I think would be a nice touch to the city.
Now, oh, go
I
ahead.
just had a quick question about the snowflakes.
Yes.
Well, they know that we need longer cords this time. So-
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. 1.5 feet will be added, yes.
Did they have the black option?
I will ask them if they have the black option,
Thank you.
yes. If not, Lauren said get electrical tape and we'll wrap it around there. Isn't that right, Andy? I know Andy's listening because he's on the phone.
For those who don't know, Andy rewired all of them so that they would work for this year. Otherwise, the cords weren't long enough to work. So thank you,
Impressive.
Andy.
Yeah, it was a lot to rewire there, but yeah, we got it done.
Get out of the hot tub.
No.
So didn't we spend some of that money though on totally lost my train of thought on that one. And I really tried to just continue, but didn't we
Spent some
spend,
of the money on.
like the holiday lighting there at the community event center out of the 40,000? So do we technically still have 40,000 to spend? Because I thought that we had pulled, because we didn't pull it out of,
I think you're
I
correct.
didn't have
We
the
did,
money.
we did pull some funds out for the holiday lights at the CEC.
for 2 years now, maybe?
I can't speak. to that. Actually, I think we had some funds
Rochelle's
budgeted in
online.
the CEC.
Rochelle?
Yes, we did not spend it this year. This year we did not spend the money that was in the university budget for lights for the CEC. We used the CEC budget for that. The
But
previous year we did.
Okay.
So is there, to Jason's point, so if we approve this 8521, still in this budget though, for this fiscal year, there's still $18,000 left.
Yeah, 521, yes, would be correct.
I think minus whatever we spent, well, right, Rochelle?
Yes, minus whatever we spent, which was probably close to $4,000 or $3,000 on lighting for the CEC.
I thought it was like 4,500, but I
Something
mean,
like that, yes.
close in that range, so still like 14,000.
14,000. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And then did we have a number budget for the other banners yet?
We're still working on that. I don't think it's gonna be substantially more than what we talked about last time, which was $3,000 or $4,000.
Okay, all right, super.
So we're still under.
All right. Do we have a motion on this?
Nope.
Move to approve.
Second.
Further discussion?
Yeah. Oh,
Sorry. Hold on there.
I just want it noted that I actually wanted us to spend the extra money on these bigger snowflakes. And that doesn't happen often, so the fact that,
Hey, it's a win-win.
you know, I just spent 2 times now. Can we all write this down with sticky notes?
Put an asterisk next to it.
Exactly.
Susan Scary's big snowflake. All right.
Yes.
I want some for my house. Can you order me some for my house?
I'll bring some down to the
Face on
old.
snowflake, maybe put that up. That'd be great.
Any further questions or comments?
I think
Eric-
they look beautiful.
Hearing none, roll call.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Reports, this morning, we had an Economic Development Committee meeting. I will send out notes / minutes for that in the next few minutes here. Tomorrow is MAC. And then the rest of my report, I will submit a written one next council meeting. Ms. Harms.
Yeah, we got Mac tomorrow. I'm chairing the nominations committee, so I've been busy trying to figure out who's our next chair for that. Matt, thank you, Adam and Travis for meeting with the constituent to talk about some things that are coming down the pike, maybe. And then delivered the rest of the prizes from Windsor Wonderland for those that were not in attendance. And then on Wednesday, we'll be doing some 2024 Windsor Wonderland planning. So again, thanks to everybody who helped with all of that. In our packet, there is a brochure on Polk County Emergency Management. So full disclosure, I do represent them at the State House. They do great, not just Polk County, the whole statewide association, but they do really great work. So if you haven't had a chance to go down to their to the center, I really encourage you to go down there and meet with AJ and really just kind of learn about everything that they do and how they work with throughout the whole metro. Just really take a look at this if you haven't yet, and it's really good stuff, and they do a lot of great stuff for our county. And then otherwise, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Cheers. We're gonna have a good year next year.
Campbell.
Thank you to Susan and Tiffany for meeting, talk about special events and sponsorship, helping us figure out a way to tap into more sponsors to help continue to grow our special events. And Tiffany has done a ton of legwork to help Susan and I. Susan's done most of the legwork on our end of building this out. But hopefully the next year we'll be able to copy and paste. And Susan and I keep saying that every year. So as we continue to try and grow stuff, it makes it a little harder. But so thank you to both of them. And then also AJ and I talked through a couple of banner options. Because as you've driven by, you might have noticed it's not the easiest to see the "in the heart of it all" slogan at the bottom of the banner that was out there before. So there'll be a couple of options. I'll send to AJ tomorrow for the communication committee to review. We'll order another sample one too, just to make sure we're happy with it and the size change as well before they go up. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Libby.
Thank you. We did a coffee with council on December 9th. Which was marginally attended. It's always interesting to see people come in and want to talk about issues in the city. I will tell you that 4 people came in and commented on the beautiful lights. Susan, thank you very much. Our Economic Development Committee meeting this morning was quick, but it was also salient in the amount of things that we talked about. The mayor has asked me to serve on the Icon Water Trails. Councilwoman Harms has a conflict, I understand, so I've agreed to do that. And I would direct our council members to take a look at what Mayor Jones sent to us today regarding Uplift Iowa. I talked to those folks earlier today, and it's quite stunning what's going on with that whole program. And they're not ready to make final recommendations yet, not until 2026. But the amount of information they're getting back, and of course, Mike was at the event, I believe, the other day. It really is could be a stunning change in so many people's lives. That's my report, sir.
Jones.
I point everyone's attention to the DART email you got from the 11th. That was a recap of our last meeting, but the big thing there, besides talking about the new operation and maintenance facility, and also it's a really neat new route that will happen along Maury on the east side that will get out to Kimmon. It's a key partner there. But a lot of public comment about the proposed service changes, which has been good, and it was recommended that those folks also go to the Des Moines Council meeting to talk to them about that as well. And then the following week after that, I went to a public input meeting for DART to hear just in general about people's thoughts. And so that one was on the south side at DMARC. And the crowd had a lot of really good questions, a lot of concerns about lack of access to service for people in
recovery for people who have disabilities and other things. And of course, the whole spectrum of poverty in our communities and others who don't have access to transportation. So it was a really good meeting. And yeah, so we'll have a long, interesting year next year for DART and seeing which direction we go in. But thankful for all of your support for public transit and what our city has said about our belief about public transit. So it feels good to know that I can represent us and not question where we stand when it comes to DART. So that's it.
I really like the email that the CEO that she sent out. It was nice, clear, concise. I could read it. I knew what was going on. It was an easy read, but it was full of information. So I really appreciate that getting sent out.
Yeah.
So
Just communicating.
I'm
I'll look from there.
so.
Keep rolling, Susan.
Okay, it's been a busy few weeks here. I attended the Civility Summit via Zoom and the monthly Metro Waste Executive Board meeting. Then on December 8th, I attended the ribbon cutting of the Iowa Demon Hawks, who are an Iowa professional indoor soccer team. The Demon Hawks are playing out of the Bucks Arena, if you haven't heard, and their next games are the December 22nd and 23rd, in case anyone would like to attend. I was able to attend the first game on December 8th, and it was a fun soccer match to watch. Even I'm not a soccer fan, but it was still fun. Then I attended Des Moines Partnerships Legislative Breakfast and listened to Windsor Heights resident and Iowa House Minority Leader Jennifer Comfirst, along with 3 others, give an update on what they see happening this year at the state capitol. Then on Wednesday, I attended the Metro Waste meeting. It was brought to the attention of Metro Waste that residents were complaining about the time that the yard waste was stopped, the dates. I'm sure we've all heard this. So this next year, they will make sure that the yard waste pickup includes the week that ends in November 30th for the contract. So for Windsor Heights, I went through and looked. Our last yard pickup date will be November 25th, giving us 4 weeks of yard waste pickup versus the 3 weeks in November. So they're hoping that will be enough to kind of help things out a bit. But because of all of us complaining and listening to our residents and, that type of thing, Metro Waste, they're going to pull the tonnage for the loads that were picked up the last week in November and first week in December from Urbandale and Des Moines to see if they could possibly add in another week of yard waste hauling. Just an FYI, many companies don't really want to pick up yard waste as it's not a profitable business. So Metro Waste has to be creative in how they bid out their garbage hauling contracts to make yard waste pickup look more attractive. So that's why we don't have the year-round yard waste pickup like Des Moines and other cities do. So, and then side note, the Education Center for Metro Waste Authority located at the Grimes location is back up and running again after their fire. If you haven't gone, even if you don't have kids to go see it, it's still a fun event for an adult and you will learn a lot. So really push that out to residents and check their Facebook pages to see the dates that they're open, because I know it's kind of a little wonky right now, but I attended the Chamber's PM Bash last Thursday. I fielded a few questions related to the city and the special events that our city has, which means businesses are already looking at what they would like to sponsor given the budgets they have. So that's good news. It's nice to be able to say that we have sponsorships available for every budget. And if we don't, we can create something to work for us all. I've been busy with Lauren creating and updating the sponsorship requests, which is rather time consuming, so that it can be sent to Tiffany for her to go through and help again. Poor Tiffany. I don't think she knew what she was getting into when she took this all under, but live and learn. Then tonight, Lauren and I met to review what we had so far, finish up the booklets, and we'll just keep moving for the sponsorships. Then on last Friday, we had a special events committee meeting. I sent out the 2024 Windsor Heights special events calendar so everybody can mark the dates on their calendar. Been busy contacting businesses for the Touch a Truck event, as well as movies in the park and planning our Earth Day event. Tomorrow, the chamber will have their AM exchange bright and early at the ungodly hour of 7:30 in Ankeny. Yeah. I have down that I'm gonna attend, but and then as a very helpful reminder, don't forget to pick up your luminaries on December 28th from the foundation at the Community Event Center from 2 to 6 p.m. If you haven't purchased yet and you'd like to put it out on New Year's Eve, maybe reach out to Mark, the foundation's president, to see if you can maybe purchase a set or 2 or 10 for your own neighborhood. So that's it.
AJ?
Thank you for our fire department on the Burger King fire the other day, as well as for driving Santa around, also known as Jason. Oops, sorry, kids. Other than that, we've got an email circulating on the Greater Des Moines Partnership Dinner if anybody's interested in representing the city on that. So, okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
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 So I have a weird question. If like, say, somebody who does